All right, I've counted down both runners. We should be underway. So make your prediction in chat. Who do you think is going to win this match? Is it going to be our very own Mr. Dino, or will the third annual champion of 40-watt range take home this title? Here we go. Game number 1 is underway. Prince Leaf wants to see 40-watt range in the second chance semifinals. Well, as you know what I like to say, Prince Leaf, be careful what you wish for. Both have their razor shield. Looks like Mr. Dino, okay, we've got everything synced up. So Mr. Dino, even on the fly, has got everything synced up. So hopefully it does stay that way, because it's hard for somebody like Mr. Dino to do two things at once. I mean, after all, he is in a very important tournament match. It is going to be 40-watt range with the hole shot. With a low 40, a high 40 for Mr. Dino. I will call it about 2/3 to 3/4 of a second. So both good starts here going into collect power-ups. Opening drop is going to be key for both players. Not literally, I hope, but it's a spreader for 40-watt. Nuke for Mr. Dino. Advantage, I'd say, slightly for 40-watt. Now an invulnerability can shred through those enemies. He'd like to have a foot to go with that invulnerability. Instead, it's another nuke. Spreader now for Mr. Dino. So they've all gotten the same drops, just in different orders here. More spreaders now for Dino. Another nuke for 40-watt. So these weapons, now there's the opening orb here for 40-watt range. And then rockets, the rich getting richer. So 40-watt is going to have the lead with a 125. Mr. Dino about 2 2/3 seconds back with a 127. Watch out for that swirl. Mr. Dino takes down the swirl as well. Mr. Shrapnel, 18 of them that you got to take down, maximum 4 on the screen. Damage control, oh so important. You got to have that weapons in order to do that damage. A lot of grenades for Mr. Dino. That is not what he wants to see. He is fishing for that orb. 40-watt has the foot soldiers down. Now just needs to focus on the rest of the Mr. Shrapnels. Not getting weapons, though, to finish them off, unfortunately. This should be the last one for 40-watt. And it is with a 208. Dino keeping pace with a 212. He's a little less than 5 seconds back, but still no orb. Razor shield for 40-watt, but 2/5 of it already gone. Dino's first stop, also a razor shield on a very tight spot in that mine. Gets a nuke to try and get a little bit of a breather, but he is still fishing for that orb and not even bothering trying to keep control of the middle. He wants that orb. Game's not giving it to him, though. Rockets, that's a good weapon to have when you don't have an orb. It's all about careful firing, though. Now there's an orb for Mr. Dino, so his patience pays off, and he does have a little bit of rocket left in that clip. 40-watt, only one section of the razor shield left. Keeping good control of that middle. Mr. Dino keeping good control of the middle as well. Shrapnel goes off for 40-watt. His time's going to be a 3:06 into the bonus room here. Let's see, Mr. Dino trying to finish up the room here, and will be able to do so. Not all that far back. It's going to be a 3:16. He is 10 seconds. Contestant 1 back. As it's time for Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell. 40-watt range. No weapon to take with him to tank trouble. Likewise for Mr. Dino. But starts off with rockets. Not the greatest spot, but it's rockets nonetheless. Able to take down both gunners and get control of that middle. Spreader for Mr. Dino, so not as good as 40-watt. And it's not going to focus on the gunners at the moment. Did lose his orb and gets shot by the gunners, so 40-watt is going to expand that lead. Watt getting a little bit too close to that tank. They're almost dropped the orb. Those foot soldiers are coming in. Rockets for Dinos. He gets his orb back. The other gunner is down. But nonetheless, he's still going to find himself double digits back easily. As 40-watt takes down the last Mr. Shrapnel. 422. Dino trying to finish off the room. The spreader might do it. Will do it. So even though with the death, he didn't lose that much time. He's still 15 seconds back with the 437, and he's got some spreader left. Meanwhile, 40-watt gets an invulnerability with the last of his spreader, and the first arm goes down. going to try to get the ball buster, and he got it. He did get the ball buster. Now going to try to manual with the rest of the spreader, but gets vibrated. Spreader for 40 watt, but he cannot take the intentional. He's going to get a little bit on this. The rest is going to have to be manual. Dino, though, gets a spreader as the first arm goes down. Gets run over, though, and he will not get to those lobbers. Because of it, he's going to focus on the gunners up front. So right now, 40 watt with about a form lead. Rockets now for Dino. Rockets for 40 watt. He's got a lobber on the left. Go ahead and switch up the weapons. Empty drop, though, for Dino. That's going to hurt his cause. So now it's about a full form lead for here's the spreader for Dino. Going to have to go manual and gets vibrated again. Cannot take advantage of the opportunity. Is 40 watt trying to expand that lead. He's got lobbers. Head pops off, and he has expanded that lead by just a little bit. Spreader, though, for Dino. Can he get to it? He's parking on it. Can he get to it? He does. But it's final four for 40 watt as he gets a spreader. But an empty drop. Final four for Dino. Did he get enough transfer damage? Grenades for 40 watt. This is going to come down to the wire, folks. Dino trying to make comeback happen. Spreader, and it is Dino. 4 games in a row. We have seen massive comebacks against Mutoid Man. And it is our very own Mr. Dino taking game number 1 with a 625. 40 watt, not that far behind with a 632. What an opener to this match between Dino and 40 watt. Dino, 15 seconds back going into the fight. Got some good timely spreaders, as did 40 watt, but an empty drop on the final form of Mutoid Man ended up being the difference in this one. And the comebacks have been real in the Mutoid Man fights. You just saw 3 in a row by Prince Leaf of deficits of 42 seconds, 26 seconds, and 18 seconds, and now a 15-second comeback by Mr. Dino to get the opening game of this best-of-7 match. Prince Leaf says, I'm going to be sore tomorrow, but you know what? It's going to be well worth it for me. I live for these close matches, and I live for these come-from-behind matches. So I would take it every day of the week and thrice on Sunday. And I say thrice because, you know, we've had some stellar matches these past couple of Sundays in this tournament. Just waiting for 40WattRange to be ready. He's ready to go. Dino's ready to go. I'm going to count him down. Yeah, the night of comebacks here on GG Speedruns. 4 in a row for our contestants. Let's see if Mr. Dino can ride the tide and take a 2-0 lead, or 40WattRange, the 3rd annual champion, can equalize. Here we go. Game number 2 underway. Of course, they both have their Razor Shield. 40 going to ignore the foot. Of course, Dino going to ignore the smart bomb. That'll end up being a time penalty if he ends up taking that. You want to have it at the end of the room. Won't get it, though. It's going to be a foot vulnerability for 40 watt. 40 watt shredding that room apart. He's going to have the whole shot. By quite a bit. 40 watt with about a 39.5. Mr. Dino with the low 42. He's 2.5 seconds back. Which may not seem like a lot, but that last match was pretty close. Every second counts. Foot for 40 watt, but rockets for Mr. Dino. Excellent drop for the leader here. Now a Razor Shield. So some great drops here to start for Mr. Dino. Ain't still on the feet, but here they both get the orb. So equal opportunity drops for both of our runners here. So Mr. Dino might have a chance to have the lead at the end of this room. It's hard to say as 40 watt uses a nuke. Spreader for Mr. Dino. to save it until the end, and that is the end of the room, but 40 Watt made better use of what was given to him, so he's going to actually extend that lead by close to 4 seconds into Eat My Shrapnel, opening rockets. Great drop of 40 Watt. Watch out for that swirl. Watch out for the shrapnel. Oh, man, Mr. Dino doing a lot of dancing there to keep that orb healthy. That could have been disastrous. 40 Watt with the spreader, using that to take down the foot soldiers. Just a few left, and they're all gone. Mr. Dino doesn't have that many foot soldiers left either, and they're gone. Ooh, rockets for 40 Watt are a great closing weapon in this room, and he's going to keep that lead at 2:05. Mr. Dino still 4 seconds back, so they were even, 2:09. Advantage of 40 Watt because of the opening rockets. Patience there by Mr. Dino not to get that orb clipped. There's a nuke. Give himself a little bit of a breather. Meanwhile, 40 Watt gets a nuke of his own. He's able to pick that up. Rockets, though, for Mr. Dino. A great drop, but neither player getting that razor shield. There's a spreader for 40 Watt, a key for Dino. Now there's a razor shield for 40 Watt. Another nuke for Mr. Dino. Give himself another breather here. So, great rooms for both so far. Weapons have been good. Spreader now for Mr. Dino. Another spreader for Mr. Dino if he decides to pick it up, and he does. Weapons have been flowing in this room for both players here. 40 Watt's going to have the lead, though, but Mr. Dino keeping that pace up. It's a 3 flat for 40 Watt range. Mr. Dino has a 3:05. He's about 4.5 seconds back. Neither player has a weapon. Once again, don't drop that chalupa. It is time for product placement with Taco Bell. Get that churro, get a drink. And hold on to your hats. We may have an exciting finish here coming up in game number 2. Depends on how Tank Trouble goes. So let's see what the weapon's going to be for 40 Watt range. The nuke in a pretty bad spot. They'll be able to take down one of the gunners, and dude for Mr. Dino, but 40 Watt drops the orb, and so does Mr. Dino. So now it's going to come down to who gets the better drops and vulnerability for 40 Watt. Able to take down the other gunner. Mr. Dino dangerously close to those bullets and runs into a mine. Ooh. Meanwhile, 40 Watt getting a razor shield and rocket, so you got to believe that 40 Watt is going to increase that lead in spite of losing that orb early. And a nuke on the feet for 40 Watt, so good quality weapons here in Tank Trouble, even without the orb. Another nuke for 40 Watt. Not the end of the room, but that was close. The shrapnels were taken down. And 40 Watt with a 4:18 as Mr. Dino, that time is going to be a bleeding. And almost gets clubbed down. It is double digits easily. True Mr. Shrapnel's left, gets the last one before it explodes to mitigate the damage. 13 seconds back at 4:31, so he's going to have another come-from-behind victory. Wants that 2-0 lead, but 40 Watt getting empty drops to start the fight. So Mr. Dino again, and he gets hit by the swirl before he could take it down and loses out on that lobber. A mistake there from Dino. Lobber now for 40 Watt. Spreader though for Dino. Man, the opportunistic there. Here's an invulnerability for 40 Watt. He has a lobber. Mr. Dino gets shot trying to get more damage in with that spreader, so can't take full advantage of that spreader. Rockets now will be able to take down the other gunner, but gets run over trying as he went right through him. And now the RNG just destroying Dino with an empty drop. A lobber now for 40 Watt. Consistent damage. Rockets for Dino. That first arm is popping off right now, but he finds himself almost 2 full forms back. Another empty drop for Mr. Dino. It is looking bad for Dino to take that 2-0 lead. As 40 Watt gets run over trying to do the manual on that spreader, but he does get lobbers. Dino just getting absolutely hosed here against Mutoid Man. And 40 Watt, unless we see a couple of spreaders, there's a spreader, but he's not going to get much on this. There's a spreader. That's a long ways to go, and he's blocking him. He won't get it. So 40 Watt looking like he's going to equalize this match. Indeed, the RNG favoring the favorites and underwhelming the underdog, as my partner Ferran Burgundy would say. And 40 Watt is just about ready to finish this off. A spreader for Mr. Dino, but it is way too little, way too late. And this time, 40 Watt makes the double-digit lead stand. And he has tied up the match at 1 apiece. Watt with a 6:31. A solid time there for the third annual champion, Mr. Dino. Had some chances there. Mutoid Man RNG wasn't very kind to him this time around. So we've got ourselves at least 5 games in this one. And we do welcome Tapatio here in the commentator's booth with us. So, Tapatio, what do you think about what we've seen so far in this match?
Yeah. Hey, Cards, how's it going? Thank you very much for, as always, handling the solo comms duty as well as possible there. It's been pretty good. I've been able to catch a little bit of it while I was also in a meeting for work. Been catching out of the side. That was quite a nice little comeback there from Dino in that first one. And then 40 just really locked it down there nicely in that second race.
Yeah, made that lead stand. Just no RNG luck there for Mr. Dino there. 40 Watt playing it very well, taking this one and evening up the score at 1 game apiece. And yeah, Tabs, I know exactly how you feel when it comes to work kind of dictating your schedule there. So I was able to get out on time, so I was very blessed to have that happen. Otherwise, who knows who would be on commentary for this one. But in any event, it's good to have you here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it could have been, hey, Dino could have done self-commentary for his race. Maybe that's what would happen.
Yeah. Good luck.
But yeah, definitely looking to be a fantastic match. I mean, 1-1, no surprise here. This is going to be I see this easily. This is one to go to 7, go back and forth. We'll see what shakes down game 3 here.
All right, I have returned to Discord. Was being Discord for a moment there, Taps, but I'm going to get these runners ready.
Yeah, no problem at all. This should be a good one right here. I think Dino had an ore drop in that last one right there, so I expect a little bit. I think once that orb comes into play again for Dino, I expect it to be locked down pretty well here. It should be a good race going forward.
Yeah, both of them had an early struggle to tank trouble there when they both had the orb. They both dropped it early, but it was 40 Watt that ended up getting higher quality weapons. He had spreaders and rockets and the whole 9 yards there, whereas Mr. Dino didn't really get that kind of quality after dropping the orb. I see that both runners are ready. I'm going to count them down, Taps.
Excellent. So let's see it in chat. What do you guys think? Who's going to be taking game number 3 here between these two excellent runners? It's a win or go home situation, which is insane. I mean, right now it's this could easily be your finals matchup. It could, and with the quality of runners, this could have been, this could have been a second round matchup too. How things shook out this year. It seems like we had a lot of low seeds coming up through as well. Uplo was the great example of that, who we just saw in the last race. And let's see who gets a whole shot here in race number 3.
Absolutely here. Mr. Dano with the 544 PB, 40 Watt third on the leaderboard with a 524 PB, but anything is possible here because we've seen incredible gameplay from both throughout the tournament. Got their razor shield. 40 Watt melts the rest of that off, and he is going to have the whole shot by about 1 second.
Yeah, always feel good to get that low 40 time, even a sub 40 going into this room. But as it always does in Smash GV, it's going to come down largely to some RNG. Both these runners are really going to be probably even working through their item drops to really hunt for that orb early on.
Well, Mr. Dano is going to be the first one to get an orb here, and he's got a razor shield, but not to be outdone, 40 Watt picks up his orb.
Yep, and like you say, Cards, you'd love to see it when the RNG shakes out a little even for both runners. They both have the opportunity to really fly through these rooms when they get an orb and maybe a weapon or two here.
It's going to be pretty even, and it is going to be Mr. Dino with a slight lead by less than a second going into Eat My Shrapnel.
Yeah, not bad at all. Both initially getting that clear out. That could be a little dangerous sometimes, especially when you don't know where that swirl's coming from or if it comes out a little bit late. Razors on Dino's side, that's going to be big for just being able to hold this room real comfortably in the center. Should do good work with that. And sometimes you'll see they'll use the Razor Shield as offensive weapon as well, running into those shrapnel and taking care of them.
Yeah, because if you have any of that Razor Shield left, it's a little bit of a time penalty when you escape through that door. So as you can see Mr. Dino there using that Razor Shield to finish off one of the Mr. Shrapnels so that he doesn't have it. Dino, good use of the nuke there, because that was the last shrapnel. It's always risky to use that, but Mr. Dino counting it perfectly, and we're still even.
Yeah, that's sometimes, I don't know how most people do it. I don't know if anybody literally counts the shrapnel. I do it mainly on feel and looking at my time. You're not going to be able to save that much time on that room regardless, no matter how fast you go, so it usually is going to be in that realm.
No!
Oh, no, Dino.
Dropping the orb. Yeah, he has rockets, but the problem is, he drops the orb here in total carnage. So a mistake there. More vitamin R, so he's had back-to-back-to-back rocket drops. However, the longer he goes without that orb, even with the weapon quality, 41's going to build that. More rockets, 4 in a row for Dino.
This is going to be interesting. If he can keep the rocket chain going, I mean, you're going to be able to good. Yeah,
and he's going to get that orb back, perhaps. Wow. Unbelievable stuff here. But despite all of the orbs, he's still trailing. 302 to 305. 3-second lead. But I'll tell you what, those weapons kept Mr. Dino from catastrophe here. As you know what it's time for, Taps.
Oh, yeah, it's time for that Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell.
Man, I'll tell you what, though, we got some hot races here. 3 seconds between the two. Neither player has a weapon to take with them to tank trouble, so that opening drop going to be huge. 40 Watt gets nuke. Good drop. Take down one of the gunners. A foot for Dino. Not very good.
Not so much for Dino's side right there. Nuke is nice, just, gives you a clear center, allows you to start focusing on the gunners.
And then back-to-back rockets for 40 Watt. He's going to have himself a time here at tank trouble. Spreader for Dino, then an invulnerable, or rather the nuke. That'll take care of the second gunner. So Dino's kept afloat, but the weapons have favored the favorite 40 Watt.
Yeah, absolutely. At 40, just when you're set up with the Razor, you get a spreader every now and then, doing really well. This room should be cleared out pretty soon here. I wouldn't expect anything extraordinary to happen. And cleans up the room very nicely. 4:14 coming out.
That's a very good time going to the Neutron, man. So sub-6 definitely on the table for 40 Watt. He would need a 76-second fight if he wants the tournament record. Mr. Dino, about 13 seconds back as one of the Mr. Shrapnels ended up going off. 4:27, so definitely has a shot. 40 Watt going for the ball buster. Nails it.
Yeah, beautiful right there. And got the grenades early. Usually you don't love to see grenades in this fight, but early on, you get to clear those gunners out real quick. So nice little setup. Hopefully a weapon here drops for him. He does get lobbers now. Grenades there for Dino trying to clear out those gunners.
And Dino did not get the ball buster there, and he gets shot. I don't know if he's going to get to those grenades. Yeah, he'll get to those grenades, but the first arm pops off. 40 Watt now a spreader, going to have to go manual. Now an empty drop, and that's been the story for Mr. Dino. He's had a lot of bad RNG the last lot one, and now starting into this one. But 40 Watt not really getting great weapons either. More grenades, a lot of grenades.
Yeah, it took a little bit of an early death on that manual attempt. Been getting grenades pretty much since then. One lobber, and there's your second lobber right there. So a little something stronger there for 40 Watt, but only about 2 range ahead.
He's two forms ahead. Yeah, he's increased that lead. Just better weapon quality for 40 Watt, even though we've not seen a spreader. But all it takes is one timely spreader for Mr. Dino. Getting electrocuted, still be able to get to that lobber there, but that is going to cost him a few seconds. But still is going to maintain about that 2-form lead on Dino. There's a spreader though. Dino will be able to get to it, but he won't be able to. He goes right towards him. There's a spreader for 40 Watt. Will he be able? And look at the cooperation there.
Yeah, that was an amazing little roll away. 40's able to surely take advantage of this. And
Did he get enough transfer
Mutoid
damage is the question.
gone.
Yeah, he did. So any kind of comeback that Mr. Dino thought of got neutralized by the spreader that 40 Watt got, and 40 Watt takes a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, that lined up perfectly for 40 Watt. It was an extremely low health at the end of the second to last form for 40. Spreader drop that Mutoid moves out of the way of, and then he just lands every shot that just melts that health bar away from the rest of Mutoid Man there.
Yeah, if Mutoid ends up parking on that spreader, who knows what could have happened there. I mean, 40 Watt still might have been able to win. But Dino, doing a good job with what the game gave him early on. Had that spreader, but the other spreader that 40 Watt got ended up being the definite difference here. And 40 Watt taking control of 2-1.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. I know the orb drop is always going to be something you're going to kind of look back and kind of kick yourself on. The rocket chain drop was something interesting right there in Carnage. I thought that might chain to tank trouble, allow Dino to get a little bit more time back there, but fortunately didn't shake out that way. We got a 2-1 series lead for 40 Watt here. And going into game 4, do we see Dino tie it back up and make this a best of 3?
Well, 40 Watt's been playing very well so far. Mr. Dino's had a couple of mistakes here and there. That last game, that orb in Total Carnage, didn't burn him. Ended up getting 4 rockets in a row before getting a replacement orb. That kept him afloat. And then, still was in striking distance on Mutoid Man, but Mutoid Man RNG is going to have to do better for Mr. Dino, and it's going to have to kind of regress for 40 Watt. If those two things don't happen, this could be over in 5.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think right here, they both got that early orb drop. It keeps pretty tight until there. I think, yeah, it's when that first little mistake happens. You drop that orb, you're not seeing it for a while. You gotta feel you're behind at that point. There's only so much you could do to really make up that time if your opponent is getting similar RNG but hasn't had an orb drop or something like that. So we'll see here going into game number 4 who gets the whole shot.
Indeed. So we got both of them with the Razor Shield, both of them employing the same strats. 40 Watt going to wisely ignore the grenades. Mr. Dino going to ignore the invulnerability.
Yeah, that grenade right in the middle of the floor there. Gets it twice, actually. Just get out of the way. I don't want it. I've seen some players actually use grenades somewhat decently, even in this room. But yeah, mostly you want to avoid that as much as possible.
Dino with about a 1.5-second lead with a high 39, 40 Watt with a low mid 41.
Yeah, not too bad. Both getting, nice little rockets there, spreader, and then the orb there for Mr. Dino. So looking pretty nice on Dino's side.
Yeah, but more rockets now for 40 Watt. His second drop of the room. But yeah, no orb. But even with that, the weapon quality should keep 40 Watt in the lead. More rockets. His third drop of the room here, Tabs. And indeed, 40 Watt, despite no orb, sub 80. But it's only a 1-second lead as Dino is 80 on the dot.
Yeah, that was beautiful use of the rockets. I think the underrated little part of that room going very well for 40 Watt too was the shoes. That added little extra amount of speed really lets you rip the rockets through in a couple different directions, really lets you clear out those lanes, and I think that really helped 40 clear out that room in a pretty phenomenal time.
Oh, and 40 Watt gets his orb, so he'll be able to maintain that 1-second lead, provided he keeps the room under control, and he doesn't drop that orb. Well, you know what? It's as Tim Kitzrow would say in NBA Jam. Is it the shoes?
Classic line right there. Love it. I think NBA Jam references with Smash TV work very well, so I think we could even start throwing in some Boom Chocolate and stuff every now and then. I think it'll
why
work well.
not? Why not? But yeah, 40 Watt had some trouble with the room. Actually ended up losing time and the lead to Dino by about a 1/2 second. So now let's see what happens in Total Carnage. We got a spreader for Mr. Dino, keep control in the middle of that room. Weapons so far have been nothing to write home about for either player at this point.
No, just enough to maintain. You keep that orb going. Razor's Rockets, a little vitamin R there on Dino's side. Loves to see that. And Razor, but then grenades on 40s. Hate to see that.
Yeah, grenades on the feet there for 40 watts, so both of them do have their Razor shield. So weapon quality slightly favoring Dino, and indeed, he is going to have the lead going into the bonus room sub 3 with a 2:58, a great time. 40 watt. Still pretty good with a 3:03. It's a 5-second race. Now, Dino has a little bit of weapon left in that clip. It's time for product placement with Taco Bell. Don't drop that chalupa.
Enchilito, Taquerito. Get yourself a Baja Blast while you're at it.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. All right, so Mr. Dino with a little bit of clip left. Let's see what his opening drop is going to be. It's Rockets. He's going to use the rest of that spreader. Now picks up the Rockets. Going to use it to take down the gunner, but drops the orb. An early mistake in this room for Dino.
Yeah, if it's going to happen, it usually... orb drop late in this room isn't so bad, but you hate to drop it early and just, you couldn't quite get it cleared out with the Rockets there. That's an unfortunate drop for Dino. Hopefully he's able to chain it together with some other weapons here.
I think Dino's mistake there was he got a little bit too clever there, and 40 watt drops the orb. Here's some Rockets for Dino. I think what happened there was Dino got a little bit too cute with the end of that spreader. He should have just grabbed the Rockets right away, take down the gunners, so then he wouldn't have to worry about him taking down the foot soldiers. But nevertheless, Dino's still in the lead. In fact, that lead's growing despite losing that orb early because he had good quality weapons.
Yeah, 40 unfortunately also had an orb drop and then just got shoes for the next 2 drops afterwards. So getting no help from the game RNG-wise to make up for the orb drop there. Nice little lob clear out there from Dino taking care of those gunners and landing those shots pretty efficiently to start.
So it was game number 1 that Dino came back from a 16-second deficit. 40 watts now going to have to do the same in game number 4. But and he starts with a spreader, but that's a mistake.
I know about that one, yeah.
You can't get it when it's in the middle like that, so he's not going to be able to get that spreader. So a mistake from 40 watt, but it is Dino, and he will not be able to get the rocket. Takes the intentional death, hoping for a spreader, but instead it's grenades.
Yeah, hoping taking that death and getting the RNG. And yeah, that's a tough one for 40 watt. You don't really want to take that manual sometimes because you have the gunners out there. They make it a real pain.
More bad RNG for Dino. Another empty drop for Dino.
Oh no, it's just, it's dried up.
He's stealing it from Dino. Here's a spreader for 40 watt. Gonna have to go manual. Same with Dino as 40 watt gets run over.
Dino in pretty good position, has him on the far right side there, so able to kind of use that barrier.
But over spreader for 40 watt, but he'll also have to try for the manual here, and he gets run over, so again, can't take advantage. An empty drop for Dino, again, his third.
Making it work. Getting the Rockets in there, and there's the
spreader. And he's going away from him, so Dino is going to get to it. So advantage Dino as he's popped the head. A long way to go for 41 on the rock, and he gets sabotaged. We've seen that happen so many times.
That literally went from Dino probably getting him down to last form into this is still a very tight race. Gets him down now.
It's wonderful form. So 41 needs to see a spreader or hope that Dino gets empty drops, but this lobber could be enough.
Yeah, the lobber shot lands, does get the refill, has to watch for a couple explosions here from the strap, but gets it done. Nicely lobbed in.
Man, I'll tell you what, Dino, that was a battle of attrition right there, Tapatio. Dino, that had the lead there by 16 seconds, looked like the game was going to mess with him again, but Dino getting a good spreader there, even with the sabotage, some good manuals as well, and is able to equalize again. We're going at least 6, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, I came definitely as we had a little bit of break in between race 2 and 3 there. I expect this fully to be going to 7. Nothing from these guys would really kind of suggest otherwise. And yeah, the back and forth. So we had, obviously 1-0 got tied up, 2-1 got tied up. I see the exact same thing happening again to make us go to game 7. We're going to go to 3-2. Other player's going to get game 6, and we're going to go to game 7. But one thing, you can tell that the RNG's been pretty rough, especially on these mutoids. You got 40 Watt entering or finishing that one with over a 7-minute time. I think Dino's was almost a 7-minute time, or a little bit, pretty much around there. That's gonna usually kind of tell the story right there. Is these guys getting 7-minute times? Something happened. Some shenanigans occurred in that race. So I expect these guys, 6:30 or so would be most likely even a losing time between these two runners. I'm expecting some low 6-minute potential here, and maybe some sub 6 action. I know Card's been looking for that sub 6 to lose. Absolutely right here. These two, why not?
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, we have yet to see a sub 6 tonight. And, all these runners here have posted some very, very good times. The RNG just hasn't lined up. I mean, we saw Oopla going into Mutoid, man, in the first match. 3:58, but then got the most atrocious RNG that you could imagine in a fight like that. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine going to that fight with the 3:58 and still not even sub 7ing that run? I mean...
Yeah. No, of course not. No. Mutoid acting like Dikembe Mutombo and just giving the good old no, the rejected, if we're going for the NBA Jam call outs.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, why not? All right, so I've got both runners ready. I've counted them down. A pivotal game number 5 coming up between our very own Mr. Dino and the 3rd annual champion 40WattRange. It's anybody's guess who's going to take this one. Here we go, Taps.
Yeah, this will be very interesting. I think usually it's, who has that orb the longest, or who gets that orb first. I'm very interested because I think we've had orb drops happening in at least the last couple of races here. Let's see whether these guys actually really stick to it, really keep that orb healthy through the entire run, because that's where we're going to start seeing those sub 6-minute times.
I agree there, Tapatio. We've not seen an optimal arena gameplay by either runner yet, to give them a solid chance at that sub 6 time. But it is going to be 40 Watt with the whole shot by roughly a second and a half. Low 39 to a mid 40.
Yeah, you either one of those times you'll love to see as you're going through. Nothing bad happened in that first room there. Rocket's there for Dino, so that'll help out a little bit, start to establish this room. Orb for 40 Watts, so that first orb goes to 40.
Once again, going to 40 there in the southeast corner, but Dino running the rest of these rockets, but now is exhausted of them. Spreader drop for 40 Watt. Dino going to ignore the grenade, not going to fish for the orb right now, but 40 Watt with a hot time, 78 seconds into Eat My Shrapnel. Mr. Dino, not that far behind with a 1:25, about 7 seconds. He needs to see that orb soon. He does, but that was a mistake there.
Yeah, that's... You don't anticipate getting it right there for sure. So then when you have the spawn, all of a sudden you have to be cautious of that area to the upper right where it spawns in. Didn't have it cleared out. It wasn't shooting that way and lost it immediately. That's going to be unfortunate for Dino here.
Yeah, plus he took a death to make matters worse. And then he uses the nuke. He was getting overwhelmed. Can't fault Mr. Dino for that decision there, but he's going to be possibly double digits back, if not more. 202, maybe a high 201. Dino is going to get a replacement orb, though, luckily, so, he can mitigate this time damage. And he's going to be about 10.5 seconds back.
Yeah, it's going to hurt there, but yeah, it has the orb, so you kind of breathe a little bit. All right, we need to get back on pace. Gets the rockets. It's going to be phenomenal to start clearing out this room for him.
Yeah, great opening drop there with the rockets, but rockets for 41. The other player's seeing that razor shield to get control of the middle, so these guys are fishing for weapons. If they don't see a weapon like a grenade there, they're just going to let it go, try to keep the control of the middle as best as they possibly can. And both runners doing a really good job. A nuke on the feet for 40 Watt will give them a little bit of a breather. Razor shield, though, for Dino. That's a great drop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll allow just...
Look at this. 251. That is a heck of a time there for 40 WattRange. He was that close to another 250. My word.
That's blazing hot. And Dino, unfortunately, I think maybe a shrapnel, something got through that razor shield on him. Unfortunately, took the loss of the orb there. Picks up grenades. I think that was accidental as well. Had rockets. I think Dino, yeah, that's you lose that second orb, and you gotta feel, yeah, you're definitely a little bit behind.
Yeah, he's 19 seconds behind 40 Watt. I mean, he's gonna dump the grenades. I mean, I can't fault him for doing that, but there's a problem. The first drop is a foot or a dude or a key, then that's a mistake. I'd have kept the grenades just in case you get that as an opening drop. I'd use it on the gunners.
Yeah,
And look at that, he does get burned.
I think if you're taking the grenades up there, you feel like you're already losing time on the room anyways. I think maybe a little consideration for that was what Dino went with, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that might be true, Tapatio, but I mean, if you see rockets, I mean, you're gonna dump the grenades anyway. So I would have just kept them just in case you get a bad open and drop. But it is what it is. It's 40 Watt, 406. You know, tournament records in play. He needs an 84-second fight. It's possible.
Yeah, I think 40 might have been hearing us talking about you know, let's get some nice optimal play and see the sub 6 here. This is just a phenomenal time going through. Just gonna take out these gunners real easy. Oh, I thought take out that second one, but does get the ball break.
Yep, did get it. Yep, the second gunner, but just needed one shot, so the other one goes down. Dino gonna need to find a way to come back. He's 30 seconds back. He will not be able to get the ball buster on Mutoid, but anything is possible depending on the RNG. But these drops have been nothing to write home about for 40 Watt if he wants to get even a sub 6 up to this point. So, not over yet.
No. I mean, do what you can. You get a couple rockets, you know, land those shots. The lobbers, that'll do good damage. And at least getting damage out there and not being in too bad a position to get there for them. Yeah, but unfortunately drove over right there.
Yeah, getting run over there, and 40 Watt getting blocked by whatever it is. There's a spreader, but in the wrong spot. A spreader for 40 Watt, he'll have to manual. Dino trying to get some manuals, getting a couple of shots in, but gonna switch it up for lobbers, the more consistent damage. But the head popping off already for 40 Watt. He's in a comfortable position as Dino gets shot.
Yeah, and that was just it. I think Dino didn't feel great about going for those manuals because of those gunners, as I was talking about in that last race there. It's just they shoot at the worst time. They just cross.
Good manuals though from Dino, getting quite a bit in, but it's final form time for 40 Watt as Dino switches up to rockets here. But 40 Watt missing some shots because Mutoid Man's final form is being very evasive.
Oh yeah, he's wiggly out there, but there you go. Gets it with those last little lobbers. Had him pretty close regardless, so any weapon would have got it done right there. Only 2 forms behind for Dino right there. You know, at points, I as far as when they entered tank trouble, it could have been even further back there. So nicely done by Dino to kind of clean this up and get a nice decent little Mutoid fight here.
Yeah, he at least made it a ball game. You know, had some rough goes on the RNG at parts of the site. As now you see final form RNG taking its full force.
Yeah, why'd I even say anything? I'm sorry, Dino.
Then
that one's on me. I shouldn't even say anything. Oh yeah, it's a great little fight. Yeah, not bad. You know. Whoops.
Yep, and then he doesn't get the lobber either. So yeah, commentator's curse, and then a key. There you go. You had to say something.
I've been here, so and then he just floors it, and of course, as soon Dino grabbed the grenade as soon as that happened, got thrown into. Yeah, I've been here. Me and Mutoid have had these little tussles every now and then.
Does take him down there, and you know, don't let the times fool you. This is a lot closer than the scoreboards indicated. There is this that 40 Watt putting up, you know, a 2-minute 6-second Mutoid Man fight. You know, that's nothing to write home about. It's a solid time for 40 Watt, but he's probably going to be disappointed. He's probably going to tell you, could have gotten sub 6 if I just had some better drops there. But nevertheless, Taps, it is the 3rd annual champion, 40WattRange, who's going to have 2 shots at advancing to the second chance semifinals. Our very own Mr. Dino going to have to dig deep and find a way to come back from 3-2, or else his very impressive run as both, runner of this stream and runner of the tournament is going to come to an end, at least the running of the tournament part.
Yeah, I think for Dino, it's a I think this is something that he'll easily be able to put this game behind. I think we've kind of seen that before. Has had those comeback races as well. I don't see any other possibility than Mr. Dino taking game number 6 here and us going to game number 7. I don't see it happening any other way.
I've got both runners ready to go, so we should be underway for game number 6. That may very well be a possibility, Tapatio, but, 40 Watt's been very consistent through the arena, almost the entire match so far. And, as Brycelov likes to say, you don't lose matches in arena, but if you don't play arena 1 well, it's hard to come from behind. And I think Dino is going to have to play the arena better. If he doesn't, it may be goodbye, unfortunately, for Mr. Dino. My prediction, I think 40 Watt's going to close it here.
All right, we'll see how it shakes down. We got a
perfect nuke. Yes.
Yeah. Very nicely done. And Dino will have a foot going through the next room. Usually, again, it's kind of one of those funny power-ups. I think when we see it and it's the only thing you're getting, a foot is not exciting at all. It's empty drop for the most part. But it's kind of really nice if you're able to pair it with something. I think, get the orb there. Not bad.
Yes.
That early start.
Great opening. Drop grenades for 40 Watt. He is fishing for an orb. He's grabbing everything he can get his hands on to force that orb drop. Not seeing it right now. So right now, the early RNG favoring the underdog here in Mr. Dino. Spreaders, that's the best drop that 40 Watt's seen. Even though with the early orb for Dino, he's not gotten anything to complement that weapon, and that was not the end of the room for 40 Watt. So Dino is going to have a 122. 40 Watt still orbless, and he's 6 seconds back. Watch out for that swirl. He evades it.
Yeah, just an unfortunate, just a bit early on the nuke there, trying to get it at the very end of the room.
Man, 40 Watt dancing around that swirl and the shrapnel there, that could have been disastrous.
Absolutely, that was a nice little dance move right there. And 40 doing what he can, what he's getting. Invulnerability, grenades. Okay, I'm just gonna run into these shrapnel and do as much as I can as quickly as I can. This is kind of what you do when you don't get the orb. All right, you want to give me a bunch of invulnerability? They'll just run into the shrapnel then instead of shooting them.
All right, so Dino keeps his lead. It's a 2:05, and that time is bleeding on 40 Watt. He's now trailing by 8 seconds with a 2:13 and still orbless. Boy, Dino having to dance through a lot of shrapnel, and those foot soldiers are getting dangerously close to his orb there, but he's able to clear them out.
Yeah, that was close. I think Dino was trying to kind of go in that route of keeping around that rocket ammo as long as possible, but when you do that, you're maybe not shooting.
Oh, look at this. Look at the distribution of drops there. Razor Shield followed up by an orb, so 40 Watt has a chance to mitigate that time loss if the weapons drive for Dino.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing 40, it's just going to hold the center. It's looking like actually that Razor will kind of melt away.
Man, I tell you, Dino's been dancing around these shrapnels all game so far, and it's gotten real scary for him.
Yeah, definitely getting within the range. Luckily, the cycle of the orb allowing to miss those foot soldiers and keep that orb healthy. That's all that really matters. But yeah, as you can see, 40 cleans up on that time pretty well now.
Yeah, he gained about 4.5 seconds out of that lead on Mr. Dano. It's less than a 4-second game, as it's time for Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell.
Ugh.
As you can see, no weapons for either player starting the room. A dude for Dino. That is not what he wanted to see. Invulnerability, so nothing great for either player. And Dino loses the orb early again. Again, poor weapon quality, dooming him. And 40 Watt trying to make the best of a bad situation. He's not getting anything either, but has kept that orb healthy. But Dino gonna get a replacement orb. But still one gunner on the wall. One gunner on the wall still for 40 Watt. And Dino loses another orb.
Yeah, it's that one was rough because had the spreader. I thought actually he was going to take it out after getting the spreader. Unfortunately, hadn't cleared the room out enough. So we'll have to do with the grenades here. It does get it done.
Oh, and 40 Watt drops the orb kind of late in the room, but I do believe that lead is going to now be in 40 Watt. So he takes a death, Rockets now for Dino. Now it's kind of hard to say who has the lead at this point. It is going to be Dino because of the shrapnel.
Yeah, just a bit back and forth, really, with who had the lead throughout that room. But yeah, Rockets Orb on Dino will be able to take out the Swirl here.
An early advantage for Dino. There's a spreader. He's going to forego it. Yes, great spreader.
I mean, did he even get the ball buster there when he tried to take the death?
No, he took the death. He saw that spreader. He's like, I'm taking that spreader. And, you can't fault him for that decision as he does finally get run over. But both arms have popped off, so an early lead for Dino, but he needs to keep the weapons flowing. As the first arm pops off, 40 watt.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to have to go after
40 watt
feet.
Runs over. He's going to be able to get to that spreader just in time. So now he'll have a chance to maybe equalize or even take the lead a foot. 40 watt going to ignore it. Not really getting many manuals after the invulnerability ends, but we do have a glitch toy.
And spreader drop for Dino, had it in a good position, but good old Mutoid just parked right on it, ruined that. So this is definitely
it's now anybody's game. Now a spreader. This is neck and neck. This could be a photo finish. 40 watt gonna have to manual, getting a few shots in, and he takes the lead back.
He does. That was a clutch manual right there. Dino's able to take it down the final four.
Oh, empty drop though for 40 watt. It's grenades for Mr. Dino. Rockets now. Lobber. Oh, this is gonna be so close, Devs. They both have lobbers.
How much extra damage did 40 get on transition here?
Enough! Oh my word! And that spreader, two things factored into that one. The spreader that was parked on and 40 watt getting transfer damage, those two things are going to end this one. And 40 watt by 3.5 seconds advances to the second chance semifinals. But you got to feel for Dino. He had that one and it was stolen right